what's happening, guys? It's certainly already February and we still heard nothing from Sony regarding Spider-Man's franchise. That's right, the Spidey Summit, as we all know by now, was supposed to take place at Sony headquarters early January and we still heard nothing. What's more, a lot of people keep asking me, what are the Spidey Summit results? Has the Spidey Summit already happened? Well, guys, here's my answer. I'm Jon Snow, I know nothing. Certainly I know nothing, just like you, but I know somebody who does. This guy right here, certainly he knows something, but he keeps quiet, just like whole Sony. Now getting back to the one and only question, has it already happened? Now presumably I would say yes. The meeting already took place in January. I guess we were a little bit naive to expect that Sony would release a press release if Spider-Man joins the MCU. Now the same can't be said about the Amazing Spider-Man franchise. This is really interesting. Let's think about all the previous announcements. The announcement for the Sinister Six, the announcement for the Venom spin-off film, the announcement for the Amazing Spider-Man 3. There was a press release every single time. Sony released a press release. Sony are actually well known for making huge announcements. Over their website Thursday, they're actually posting the press release. They want to make a huge thing out of it. That is with their own Spider-Man franchise. So let's say the decision at Spidey Summit was, we are continuing with the Amazing Spider-Man 3, alright? They're continuing with the Spider-Man franchise. The deal with Marvel fell apart basically, and Sony are continuing with the Amazing Spider-Man franchise. You would think logically that by now they would probably release a press release, seeing how it's Sony, seeing how they want to make a big deal out of it. They were quiet for quite a long period of time, for all these months, like 6 months since the Amazing Spider-Man 2 release, and we heard nothing. And then there was the Sony Pictures hack attack, which took place in December. So I'd say logically they would really want to bring interest back to their franchise. They would like to let fans know that they are continuing with the Amazing Spider-Man 3. If I was Sony, I would certainly rush with such an announcement and actually bring people's interest back while it's not too late. And Sony are still quiet. Perhaps the result of the Spidey Summit was that Spider-Man indeed joins the MCU. Marvel will take over the Spider-Man, the brand new Spider-Man trilogy. They will reboot the Spider-Man without Andrew Garfield, with a new, younger Peter Parker. And as we heard from all these rumors, it will be a less love story, more action, more Spidey just being Spider-Man, just being superhero. And actually Marvel are taking Spider-Man back. They took Spider-Man back, not in terms of rights, definitely. They're actually making Spider-Man films and Sony will distribute, and the whole 60-40 production split deal took place and is already on the papers. People are already signing contracts and everything. Now in this scenario it makes sense that there's no Spider-Man announcements yet. Seeing how it's Marvel, I would say they would wait for a San Diego ComicCon and then they will announce Spider-Man. Marvel will make a really big deal out of it. If Marvel got their hands somehow on Spider-Man, if they had a chance to include Spider-Man in the MCU, they would certainly make a big deal out of it. They wouldn't just release a press release like Sony. They would logically wait for San Diego Comic-Con or the Avengers Age of Ultron. The movie is a few months from the release. It's almost here, and they still can throw a post-credit scene, middle credit scene, or just credit scene, you know. They still can edit stuff, and let's say that the deal went through and they would like to show Spidey at least some sort of brief Easter egg in the Avengers Age of Ultron or in one of the post-credit scenes. Logically, that's how Marvel would do it. Or it's San Diego Comic-Con, and as I've been speculating for quite a long time now, they would make an announcement similar to Batman vs Superman. It will be just a Spider-Man logo popping up on the big screen. In case you still haven't seen that video, you can check out in the description box on my Facebook page. Made a lot of people excited, even thought I made it clear that it's actually fake, with Kevin Feige announcing that Spider-Man now joins Marvel and the Spidey logo pops up there. I would say that's the two possible scenarios. You know, we are waiting for Avengers Age of Ultron and Marvel will show Spider-Man or Spider-Man Easter egg, something related to Spider-Man in the post-credit scene, or it's San Diego Comic-Con. Because Sony aren't waiting for San Diego Comic-Con. Let's make it clear, they are not going to announce the Amazing Spider-Man 3 at San Diego Comic-Con, neither Sinister Six or anything related to that. They won't show the Amazing Spider-Man 3 logo at the San Diego Comic-Con. As much as I still want that movie to happen, let's be honest here, the reaction will probably be boo! You know, the majority of people at San Diego Comic-Con want Spider-Man to join Marvel, so it will be really risky move from Sony to announce, let's say, Sinister Six at the San Diego Comic-Con, to announce that it's still happening, because they would get booed, honestly. And obviously at this point Sony already knows that the majority of the fans, a lot of people want Spider-Man to join Marvel. I mean, Sony are posting random stuff on Twitter about Super Bowl, they got a response, fuck Sony, let Spider-Man join Marvel. Sony are posting something about their upcoming film on their Facebook page, they got comments, fuck Sony, let Spider-Man join Marvel. Sony are getting punched right in the face almost everywhere, basically. They're really pushed to the corner at this point. So I mean, the fact that Marvel are about to make Spider-Man films and Spider-Man joined the MCU is probably the biggest headline in like 10 years. It's probably the biggest piece of news in terms of comic book films. Bigger than Batman vs Superman, bigger than anything, right? So I wouldn't really expect a press release. I wouldn't really expect that Marvel would announce something like that on Twitter, on their website. They would wait for a really proper moment, such as San Diego Comic-Con or Avengers Age of Ultron. If we are not getting anything with the Avengers Age of Ultron, if we are not getting any release from Marvel, no announcement from Marvel or Sony at San Diego Comic-Con, I don't know what to think about it, honestly. I would say that maybe Marvel will make some sort of announcement after San Diego Comic-Con, which doesn't make sense, but, you know, who knows? This is the only way I can explain why there's no Spider-Man announcements, no Spider-Man news at this point, is that, just think about it, if it was Sony, they would certainly announce the Amazing Spider-Man 3 release date, the precise one, and they would announce that they're continuing with the Sinister Six by now. There would be already a press release. Or maybe it's being prepared right now and they will announce something in February. I mean, it's not June, right? It's still just the beginning of February. Now, if there won't be any announcement from Sony in February, I'd say that Marvel got their hands on Spider-Man and there will be a huge San Diego Comic-Con announcement, or we will get something with the Avengers Age of Ultron. That being said, it's not like we're not having any Spidey news at the moment. J.K. Simmons just recently revealed in an interview with Howard Stern that he was actually asked whether he would like to reprise his role as J. Jonah Jameson. Of course, he was one of the highlights of Sam Raimi's trilogy. Everybody wants J.K. back. I would say even Sony had such an idea. As I asked Mark Webb back in May, he did say that J.K. Simmons was great, and he asked me whether I would like to see J.K. Simmons. Basically, by asking me and seeing all my Spider posters on the background, he certainly asked every single Spidey fan in the world. And my response was yes, and they know, everybody, Sony, Marvel, they know that JK was great as Jameson. To what he replied, quote, "I just heard that that's a possibility." He just heard something. Now, it can mean something, it can mean nothing. Personally, for me, it wasn't really that much of a groundbreaking news as some headlines over the websites made it look like. J.K. Simmons, honestly, he's been teasing the fact that he would like to reprise his role for like 7 years now. Almost every year, 2 years, he says that he would like to be back as J. Jonah Jameson. So it's nothing surprising, honestly. What's surprising is that the way he said it, I just heard something, you know, I just heard that Now this, once again, if this is true, if he honestly heard something, contradicts with the fact that Marvel got Spider-Man, because if Marvel got Spider-Man, as I said, they would wait for the announcement, they would let nobody know about the fact that Spider-Man is now a part of the MCU, including, of course, J.K. Simmons. That being said, I would certainly like J.K. be back as Jameson if Spider-Man is now a part of the MCU. J.K. Simmons part of the MCU is a huge win. You can check out this interview in the description box. Also, just recently, David Cope, a writer for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1, explained how he would fix the Amazing Spider-Man franchise. He gives a bunch of advices to Sony. One of the highlights of his quote is, of course, that he would certainly like that there would be a Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Then there's the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy, a more of a dark and gritty tone, which we had with the Amazing Spider-Man 1, and unfortunately it was changed with the Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was more of a colorful cartoon type of movie with some serious elements in it. And then he would throw the Spectacular Spider-Man, basically Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man. It's quite an interesting interview there. You can check it out in the description box. Of course, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1 is still one of my favorite Spider-Man films. And David Cope, who actually rewrote James Cameron's script, like almost 15 years ago. Actually did pretty well, and the first film is a classic in my opinion and will always be. And the final piece of news for today is another rumor, that's right, coming from Reddit.com. Allegedly a Marvel employee, somebody who worked for Marvel, split a few details about Marvel's plans for their future cinematic universe. There's a long post there, and yes, he does mention Spider-Man pretty precisely. He mentioned that Marvel didn't feel like they wanted to wait on Sony and Abbey Everett. They were playing hardball and were difficult to deal with, so not worth Marvel's time, so they dropped discussions, apparently. Now, of course, take it with a grain of salt coming from Reddit. It's just a rumor, but still you can read the whole thing in the description box. So yeah, you heard my thoughts, guys. Do you think Spidey Summit already happened? What do you think is going on there with Sony and Marvel? Do you believe, my theory is that the reason Sony are quiet is because Marvel are about to include Spider-Man in the MCU, and Sony are quiet. They're not releasing press release regarding the Amazing Spider-Man franchises because there's no The Amazing Spider-Man franchise. One last thing I wanted to mention is that I'd certainly like to know, let's say Marvel will announce Spider-Man during San Diego Comic-Con, or there will be some sort of Easter egg during the Avengers Age of Ultron post-credit scene. This certainly is exciting, but then again, what about all the Amazing Spider-Man fans, the Amazing Spider-Man franchise fans, including myself? How would you explain that there is no The Amazing Spider-Man franchise? It's like Kevin Feige appears at San Diego Comic-Con, here's a Spidey logo, woo! And then he says, "Oh, the Amazing Spider-Man franchise, it's dead basically. Sorry. I mean, how exactly are they going to announce that? That there's the Amazing Spider-Man franchise is dead by now? This is very interesting. Very interesting. Maybe that's the reason also why they are so quiet. They're actually thinking how to properly announce the end of the Amazing Spider-Man franchise to all the 100,000 fans of the Mark Webb's franchise, and then announce that Spider-Man is now a part of the MCU." This is quite a big headache for either Marvel or Sony, whoever will announce that. Certainly I would like to hear that. And let's wait for now, let's wait for something in February. Tell me what you guys think, and I'm out for now.